Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! We win!
Don't you open your mouth about the best. Or I'm going to set it for you real quick. LOB.
Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
Lewis gets it to LeBron for three for the win. Yes! LeBron James at the buzzer.
Pass is caught. Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it!
What was your mindset when you stepped in the batter's box?
Go yard. I mean, I'm a pitcher. Why not swing as hard as I can? I got nothing to lose.
It's nothing to man above. Don't put you in situations that you can't handle. Instead of saying, why me? They're saying this is what he want me to do. And, Cleveland! This is for you!
The way we approach the game is the same way we approach life. You do the right thing. You make the right play. You make the right play. And in life, it's the same thing. What do you feel in your heart is the right thing to do? And you do that. You know, it seems so simple, but sometimes the simplest things are the hardest things to do. And I think it's just that.
Welcome to
What?
The game. To me.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What the Game Means to Me. Got myself, of course, here. Thaddeus Bell, my co-host. How you doing today, bro?
I'm pretty good, bro. Coming off a good victory Sunday, looking to make it 2 in a row. Really, all my teams are doing good, but I'm doing good. As long as my teams are winning, I'm doing fine.
I feel that. Like I said, we got us a win too. I think it was the first time we got a win on week 1 in like 6 years. So definitely positive direction, positive start. We got a decently hard test this upcoming week as well. So we're gonna see how it is. But like you said, your team got a hard test too. Now think about it. I think they hungry. They done came off that 1-point loss. They got their boy back. So I don't know. I might have to look out. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we need all the advantages we can. It's gonna be hot at 4 o'clock, but at 1 o'clock it's gonna be crazy. Like it might be 100 degrees. Like I'm bringing a sweat towel for sure.
And it's gonna be like that. I might have to make my way down there. It ain't too far away, so I'll figure it out. I know you going down there for the game, but anyway, like we said, it's another show. We're back. Week 2 starts tonight, but definitely before that happens, we got to recap week 1. I've been saying it in the chat. I think I told you. I said a few other people, like, I don't know. Week 1 was kind of weird. I don't know. It felt like preseason a little bit, but like thinking back, like the preseason games actually didn't look as bad to me as this first week of football games. I don't know. Like I tuned into a bunch of different games. Like some of them was good, obviously besides like Miami and the Chargers game. Like all the other ones kind of felt like just kind of off. Like I know y'all, like Indiana stayed in it a long time for y'all's game. Obviously, the Commanders and Cardinals was atrocious. Our game was a little wonky too. Like wasn't that much passing going on. So it's just like it didn't seem like every team came in prepared really. The main ones I would say obviously Cowboys, 49ers, and the Rams and Dolphins, obviously. So I don't know. What did you kind of think of week 1? Like I said, I felt like it was kind of like sloppy performances all the way around. Like the games wasn't as great. But what did you feel about it?
Before we get into the games, I agree. Like I was kind of thinking that while watching. I'm not saying like preseason we need to have more preseason games, but I think like the starters should. You know, some teams like for us, our starters played in 2 out of 3. Some teams like the Chiefs, I'm pretty sure they played in every game except for the last one. But it was just a lot of sloppy football. And I mean, that's part of the game. Some guys didn't play at all in the preseason. Their only reps were in practice. And especially like when you play quarterback and you don't play in the preseason, I think it kind of affects you because you kind of need to get hit. Obviously, you don't want to get hit, but you need to get hit. And you know, in practice, especially if you're the franchise quarterback, you're not getting touched. So I just think more reps in the preseason would have helped. So, you know, everybody was rusty, and this was basically like their preseason week 1 or week 2. So it's not like a total surprise that there was good football being played. But overall, it was still fun. Football was back. People were flying around. But it just wasn't as, you know, precise as coaches and fans would want it to be.
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously that's going to change, you know, within the coming weeks. Like I said, it just looked a little bit worse this year than in past years that I can remember. Like it just was.
I agree. It was weird. Like Lamar didn't look good. Well, he looked okay, but if you watch the full game, he was okay. Him, Joe Burrow didn't look good. Who else can I think of off the top of my head? Jalen Hurts didn't look as good. I don't count that though, because playing in the monsoon is not fun. But
Yeah.
just a lot of guys that were really good last year, having shaky starts. But I'm not gonna, Josh Allen too. I'm not gonna write them off after 1 week, especially when none of those guys played in preseason. I don't think Hurts played at all. Burrow, Lamar, none of those guys touched the field in the show.
Yeah, Burrow, obviously got hurt midway training camp. So yeah, it just, like you said, just didn't look good overall. But like I said, I expect this week to look a little bit better. Hopefully, starting with tonight, hopefully the Vikings come to play. We don't know. We kind of felt like they would have a little bit of a step back, but yeah, losing to a Bucs team that we thought was probably bottom 5 coming in the year. Even though, I don't know. I guess we can probably get into it a little bit before we talk about some, like, I guess that kind of segues into it. Surprise performances. I don't know if the Bucs are one of them for you. Could be good or bad performance, but yeah, I just didn't think, we knew they would take a step back, but didn't think I would see them take a loss to the Bucs in the first week. Obviously, the Bucs haven't lost too much outside of like their quarterback and a few like defensive players, but offensive line, a lot of their guys got hurt coming into the year, so like I thought that would hurt them a bit too. But they looked okay. They got the win. They squeaked it out. But I guess there's any surprise performances from you, either teams or players, individuals?
Yeah, okay. First off, I'm going to just name a couple of teams. My biggest surprise, and it's in a good way, was the 49ers. The 49ers and the Rams were my two biggest surprises. The 49ers, like a lot of people, was looking highly on Pittsburgh. They finished the season on a high note. There was a lot of optimism about their quarterback, and Pittsburgh's a tough place to play. Anybody knows that goes to play there. And the 49ers just dominated them. Like, I know they already had like a top 2, top 3 roster, but they dominated in the trenches, like literally from play one. That game was never close. I think it was like 17-0 in the first quarter. With the home teams, usually get a little momentum and they might be able to mount a comeback, but it was just a complete thrashing the entire time. And then the Rams, they lost one of their best players this offseason in Jalen Ramsey. From the Super Bowl looks completely different. No Leonard Floyd, no Von Miller.
No Allen Robinson either.
Allen Robinson, and they went out there with Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, and I don't know.
The rookie receiver.
I can't even say his name. I know who Tutu Atwell is. He played at Louisville. He used to play quarterback in high school, but those aren't guys. Bryce Perkins, that was the most surprising because the way Seattle was trending, like they basically were supposed to be rebuilding, but in 2 years they had a really formidable roster, and I was just expecting big things out of them. And then the way the Rams went in there and I wouldn't say dominated. The second half they dominated, but they were able to go in there and get a win. And a lot of people said like the Rams are tanking, like, if they're not doing good by week 8, week 9, Matthew Stafford or Aaron Donald could be potential trade candidates. So for them to go in Seattle and get a win, like I said, just like Pittsburgh, people used to not want to go play Seattle. When they had Legion of Boom, when they used to go to Seattle, that was like an automatic loss. So for that, those are my two teams. And surprise performances, honestly, I'm going to go with Tua. I'm going to keep it all quarterbacks. Tua, Jordan Love, and CJ Stroud. First off, CJ Stroud, obviously the stat book doesn't look like it, and they lost, but he had a very good performance for a rookie, in my opinion, against a very stingy Baltimore defense, and he looked more than competent. They put the ball in harm's way a lot, had a lot of drops, and he doesn't have much help around him. His number one is Nico Collins, which nobody really – some people know who he is, but most people don't. So I think he surprised me because in the preseason, I think he looked the worst out of all the rookie quarterbacks, and I know preseason doesn't matter too much, but he stepped up to the plate there. Jordan Love, I know there are a lot of questions, but he went in and handled business. And people like me, I know I picked the Bears when they said Dobbs was questionable and Christian Watson was out. I'm like, Bears got this one. But they went in and pretty much not manhandled them, but they dominated the game as well. That was a convincing win. And he looked good. He missed some throws. He's trying to be like A-Rod and be cute and just flick his wrist and do that sidearm and stuff sometimes. But you just got to, go back to your mechanics. But for the most part, he looked good. And then lastly, Tua, I wouldn't say like biggest surprise, but I just didn't know how he was going to look coming off. His last football game, he got a concussion. He hadn't played since Christmas, and he went out there and picked off right where he left off. Last year when Tua played, the Dolphins won, and that was the case on Sunday. And he just, I don't know, man. He looks a little stronger. I'm not saying his arm's way stronger, but he was already accurate, and he was everything was money. Like, he underthrew some passes, obviously, because Tyreek Hill runs like a 4.2, but
Yeah.
for the most part, he wasn't having to break stride how he was last year. He was hitting guys on the money. He was stepping up in the pocket. He was just dicing them up. It's not a surprise. I just didn't expect him to throw for almost 500. That
Yeah,
game
in
was
the
by
first
far
game.
the funnest of the day. So
Yeah.
those are my 3 guys surprises for quarterbacks for the week 1.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, with Tua, like you said, they have a pretty good secondary too. The Chargers, they have a decent overall, obviously, team and defense. So, like you said, just first game, after so many months, like I said, he did look really good, and I go surprise performance. Not really too much of a surprise, but I mean, you can't say it wasn't surprise. Like 200 and something yards, 2 TDs, Tyreek Hill, monster, just looking crazy. Like you say, he feels this year like he's fresh and as a better, like, runs his routes better, as a better understands routes. So it's like that was his knock. He's really just speed. But now you got somebody that can, actually run the route tree with speed. Got an accurate quarterback who's hopefully going to stay healthy. Like, they're going to be dangerous for sure. Outside of that, I mean, like I said, surprise performances team wise. We're going to be talking about the Rams a lot, but I had them on here as well. And then another one, I'd say, like, get Anthony Richardson. Like you said, he had a pretty good game. To me, he looked the best out of all the rookie quarterbacks on Sunday. Like I said, stay composed. I think you had said it. Once he gets a little bit more help around him, I think they're going to take off. Like, they always typically have a pretty good offensive line. Their defense is pretty nice as well. They just probably need to add a few more pieces here and there, maybe like secondary. But he played pretty well. He looked composed. Like, my one knock on him obviously was just like, I feel like he's a rookie. I was like, I feel like he's gonna make some dumb plays, gonna make some dumb decisions, but his athleticism is gonna bail him out a lot of times. And he had a few nice runs. I think he had a Russian TD in that game. And then, like I said, he looked pretty poised. Like I said, he made some solid throws as well, and kept them in the game for as long as he possibly could. Because, like, eventually I felt like I were gonna take off. So I think those two, or him, obviously, like I said, the Rams, and then Tyreek Hill was probably the biggest performances for me. JJ looked like he was about to take off, and then they just fell flat, as we probably will see a lot of times this year for sure. But hopefully he can have a big performance for me tonight, because I need him last week, and it really wasn't going to matter. Both my fantasy teams took a L. They took big L's. I think I lost to you. One of the teams, like, barely scratched 100. So anyway, though, like, surprise performances outside of that, I'll give a little love to my guy Bijan. He had a few nice plays. He didn't get as many touches as Tyler Algier, but that two-headed monster is gonna look crazy. Like, and then supposedly Cordell's supposed to come back this week. They're gonna probably use him obviously as a, just that, not every day down or every down back. Obviously, they're gonna probably move him around a little bit. I think they're gonna use him more so in the receiving game. I feel like we're gonna throw more screens to him this year. Probably use him into some sweeps more than just out the backfield. So it's gonna be fun to see all three of them take the field for the first time this upcoming week. So definitely looking forward to that. But real quick, now we're gonna hop on into one of our newer segments that we're gonna do. Not really new, but we're putting a name to it. We sometimes do them on the show, but some overreactions for this year. So this year we're gonna kind of each week pick two things that kind of stuck out in our mind. Because each week we have a little bit of an overreaction. We have Overreaction Monday on OTBN. So on our show, we're going to start doing a little bit of overreactions as well for a few things, and then kind of figure out, like, y'all tell us if there's an overreaction or not. But Dad has two, I got two, and each week we're going to come out with you with some new overreactions based off of some performances. But Dad, I know this week, you had an overreaction. Your overreaction was
I think this is time. Since I've been born, the Cowboys have never been to an NFC Championship game, let alone the Super Bowl. And I think this year they get over the hump. The NFC is not as tough as previous years. They brought their entire defense back. They added Brandon Cooks. They added Stephon Gilmore. They look dominant. The last 2 years they led the league in turnovers. I think this is the year we see the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl, and we will get a Cowboys-Niners NFC Championship. What you got, overreaction or no?
Nah, unfortunately, and I think we both feel this way. Unfortunately, I agree with you, because
I hate
having to say it, hate having to put it, but like you said, they look good. They look really, really good. Defense. We already knew the defense was going to be, top tier, top notch. Coming into the year, had a little bit questions offensively, being that, obviously they moved off of Zeke. Didn't know how Tony Pollard would handle, being RB1. A little bit of changes. Obviously, they added Brandon Cooks in the receiving core. Offensive line kind of got old, but I think they retooled that there, and they just came out 40 skunk first game. Really, any game, it don't even matter. Just like an NFL team that's supposed to be it's supposed to be closer to the second to third best type team in that conference. Obviously, probably had the Eagles first. Eagles, Cowboys kind of neck and neck, and then the Giants are supposed to be right there and supposed to have a big year. But they showed them they're definitely the little brother, probably worse than the little brother in that division. So they definitely look good. Like I said, there's no competition in the NFC. Obviously, all we can really think of is the 49ers. And, if the Rams keep this up, maybe, but I don't know how much that's going to suffice. Other than that, everyone else is kind of just fighting for positioning to get bounced in the first and second round. So I think, like you said, it's not an overreaction at all. I actually agree, and it's unfortunate, but I think we do probably see Cowboys NFC champion in the NFC Championship. If this ain't their year, though, like you say, it's just gonna. Yeah, there's really no time. Then after that is questions, because the question has always been Dak. They don't know if they're gonna keep him, move off of him. Obviously, they moved off of Zeke this past year, so we really don't know what their direction is gonna be. Obviously, they traded for Trey Lance, but I personally don't know or think that's gonna be the answer if Dak doesn't work out. So if it's not this year, we don't know when. It's just gonna continue to be the same cycle for sure. But I know it was your overreaction, so I'm guessing obviously you agree as well.
Yeah, for sure, I do. It's over. I might be tripping, but what I saw on Monday and what I've been thinking about the NFC, I think this is the Cowboys' year. It has to happen.
It got to. So my overreaction this week, like I said, been talking about them pretty much the entire week because I liked how they look, and they don't have Cooper Kupp yet, and they still probably have a little bit of room to make some moves here and there. Obviously, going down deeper, I'm thinking way down the line, but down the line in the year, they can sign some guys off practice squads. Some people may get released. They can sign them, if they're in position to possibly make a run, even at their division or just the playoffs in general. But crazy overreaction, obviously, because the 49ers are right there and they're looking good. Rams win their division. Like I said, I've been saying they still got McVay. They're 2 years removed from a Super Bowl. Obviously, they lost a lot of guys. You just named them in the beginning of the show. But I feel like their younger guys that they've drafted have played well, have stepped up to the plate. Like I said, they don't have Cooper Kupp as their leading receiver. Hopefully, when he gets back, they look like they'll have a decent little core. They may have to figure out the run game a little bit. But who knows? They may sign some guys that's still out there. Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, guys like that. And defensively, they looked okay. Still got Aaron Donald leading the way. And I forgot the dude's name in the secondary. I think his last name is Johnson. But they got some guys over there that I think that can at least compete. They're going to compete. And, I know the one kryptonite for the Rams, and I think you put it to my attention last year, the 49ers are always – they have a number. They've had a number for the last few years. So, obviously, they handled the second best team that was supposed to be in that division in Seattle. The Rams now have to figure out a way to beat the 49ers, which they haven't been able to do in a few years. So, crazy overreaction, being, like I said, that the 49ers are right there and everyone loves their defense and their offense looks like they're coming to light. Brock Purdy didn't look like it was just a 1 year sensation. He looked decent on Sunday as well. So Rams win the division, overreaction or not.
You know where I'm going with this one. I love Matthew Stafford because I was basically a Georgia fan growing up, but this is a complete overreaction only because, if you said Rams make the playoffs, I wouldn't say overreaction because after week one, you just don't know. Mm-hmm. People had the Seahawks finishing fourth behind the Cowboys and, the Eagles and Niners, but they just lost to the Rams. But I'm going to say overreaction. What the Niners showed me on Sunday already solidified what I already knew. They had a great defense. Them adding Hargrave and that safety, I forgot, I can't name him, Hufunga, the rookie safety, the second-year safety they had, is picked off when he left off too. So they have studs at all three levels. And as long as Brock Purdy is healthy and he's playing how he is, which is competent quarterback, plays a little bit above a game manager, in my opinion, the Niners have this division. And like you said earlier, they have their number. I think in the last 4 years, they're 7-1 or maybe even 8-0. And I know the one winning the NFC Championship. But outside of that,
I don't think they.
Kyle Shanahan has had McVay's number. So I'm going to go major overreaction for that one. But I'm definitely pulling for the Rams. And one thing before we move on, I will say this about them that I'm impressed with. like it just shows at all three levels they have the right person. Like Matthew Stafford, head coach Sean McVay, and then GM Les Snead. Like they made all those trades for the Super Bowl run, and they were limited on draft picks, but they're showing that they're starting to hit on some of those draft picks. So just quality GMing, I think. And they got a Super Bowl out of it, so nobody can really tell them anything. That's what you play the game for.
Exactly. They got a few more years until like you start hearing the noise about it. But like I said, only 2 years removed from one, so you never know. They might still have some of that. I guess they can capture that lightning in the bottle. Who knows? Maybe that first game gets them rolling. But I mean, football, especially NFL, is a long year, so who knows? Anything can happen.
Crazy.
They say they can deal with some injuries like they did last year, and we can be talking about them being another bottom 5 pick in 2-3 weeks. Who knows? But I can see the overreaction. But you gotta have an overreaction sometimes. But next one we got, I know this is your overreaction.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence will be a top 5 quarterback ahead of Joe Burrow. I mean, I didn't mean to say Joe Burrow. I don't know. I'm sorry. Joe Burrow shouldn't be on there. Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. I can't put Lawrence above Joe Burrow yet unless we go to a Super Bowl. But I just think he was already trending that way. Some people had him there. I personally have him in the 8-9 range right now. But with the addition of Calvin Ridley, we saw it on Sunday that he finally has that number one guy to take the top off the defense, and it just opens up everything. Yeah. I don't like how much he goes to him sometimes. Like he was forcing it to him sometimes when he was barely open, but he knew he could because of the arm he had. But I just think with him, the addition of Tank Bigsby, our offense is going to take off, and people are going to start putting him in that category. I already personally think he's a little bit better than Herbert, but I still give Herbert the nod because he's done more in the league, and Lawrence has only had like half a good season. But I really truly think that he takes the next step, and he's in that category right behind the Mahomes and Burrow and bunching there with. I'm not even saying like in front of Herbert and Allen, but right in that group. So overreaction or not overreaction?
Yeah. Actually, you're right. I made the mistake. I put Burrow, and that must have been in my head because I personally think he can get there this year. Like I'm one of the guys, don't know if this is overreaction or not, but I'm one of the guys that I like Burrow, but I don't think I'm the biggest Burrow fan. Like you said, he's been to obviously Super Bowl. He's been to NFC or AFC championships. My fault. Obviously, he won at LSU. I'm personally a guy like he's a good quarterback, but I feel like, and I mean, obviously this kind of goes for everyone, but he has to have like perfect situations around him every time I've seen him be able to be a good quarterback. Like the first year or two in the league, like obviously they didn't have a good team. They had an atrocious line. That's obviously not his fault, but you see those top 5 quarterbacks be able to overcome some of those things at times. And I personally think every time he's been great, he's had a great situation. And obviously that's not a knock on him. Like, obviously everyone has to have a decent situation or talent around them in order to be good. But, we saw that LSU obviously had Chase and Jefferson and a great defense, like Queen and all those guys. So it's like perfect situation. These last, 2 years, the GMs, they started putting money into the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, we haven't seen any type of team go to championship or win the championship without somewhat of, I think, top 10 or top 12 defense. So they put money into that side of the ball. Obviously, they listened to him, drafted Chase, still had Mixon. Mixon, was healthy. Burrow was healthy, and they put a little bit of money onto that offensive line as well. So I feel like it's always had to be like a perfect situation for him to show his greatness, like I said, which kind of sounds dumb, but in a sense, like sometimes I feel like I say, if you're a good quarterback, you can overcome some of those things. Like with Herbert, his first year or two, like they weren't great, but we saw so many flashes, and he had his team like right there to possibly get to the playoffs. If his coaches wasn't making so many dumb mistakes, they possibly could have went to the playoffs. So certain things like that, I can see. And like I said, I guess long story short, it's not an overreaction. I can see Trevor Lawrence, especially from Sunday, and the talent now around him. I got my boy Calvin. I got Zay Jones. I love Zay Jones. Zay Jones is a dog. I got obviously Christian Kirk as well, and then defense looked pretty good too. So I don't think it's an overreaction to say that he's gonna creep up to there. Right now, where would you have him? Like top 10 at 10?
Yeah, no. The season, like going into last Sunday, I have him like 8 or 9. I can't think of like my order would be Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, I think A-Rod number 4, Herbert 5, Lamar and somebody else is in front of him. I can't think of the 7th quarterback, but after that, like he's in front of Dak and Goff and people like that.
For sure. Yeah, I have him there too, for sure. I think, like I said, he can definitely be top 5. Like I said, right there in the Burrow conversation. Probably already. I personally think he might already kind of be there in the Herbert conversation. Like I said, might be premature, but I mean, I like Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, it looks bigger, stronger. His decision making, as long as he takes care of the ball, like you said, like a Josh Allen, we kind of see he's been a little bit lazy with the ball. He take care of the ball pretty well. He makes the right throws. He was placing the ball perfectly on Sunday too, like that one-handed catch by Zay Jones, and then a few of them. I think he split two corners to Calvin, I believe, right? It was one.
Yeah, that throw though, like, all right, it's a nice throw, but you can't do that all the time. Other corners gonna pick that, bro. That's him trusting his arm too much.
It was, I would say, I guess he just knew, he just had a feeling, but he was getting the ball and squeezing him in tight places. And like I said, I like Lawrence a lot. I like his ball placement. I like his decision making, and I think he can, not an overreaction for me, he can be right up there, if he isn't already up there right now with like some of those guys.
Real quick, before you move on though, like, think about this. Like, you play DB, so DB sometimes they decide to go for the ball, and some people that don't have the best ball skills, they'll just decide to take out the receiver. Like, what if Kenny Moore just decided to decapitate Calvin Ridley? He would have been out this week. Like,
I guess that's too. You got to think about that. Yeah, as a quarterback.
When you're talented like that, you just, that's what got you there. He trusts his arm, his God-given ability. So
yeah,
I can't be mad at him.
Yeah. That's true too, though. Like you said, as a quarterback, sometimes like you'll probably just make the throw and you're like, damn, I probably shouldn't have made that throw. Like my boy rocked, but it's like it was either you or him at that moment, or like you thought he could make the play, but like you said, the DB probably was like, oh, let me just go ahead and take him out real quick. No free ball. So it's like, yeah, it kind of goes both ways. I can see what you're saying for sure.
100%.
But next one, gonna move on. Overreaction. I think this one was my overreaction. More college quarterbacks will go in the first round this year than initially thought. I personally thought, like I say, it could have just been due to bad play. I said this on our overreaction show on Monday, but it could have just been due to bad play. But I think there's a lot of teams that went into this year thinking that they were comfortable at quarterback for at least like the next 2 years that might possibly be like, nah, we might start looking towards the draft this year, depending on, I guess, how obviously they fare out the rest of the year. But some of the quarterbacks just did not look good. I was saying, it was probably a little bit overreaction on my end, but I was definitely saying like us Falcons, I'm still not fully sold on him, but after calming down a little bit and seeing, and hearing what Arthur Smith said, like how the game was just weird and how he kind of had to change things up, I'm gonna give him, another 4 or 5 games. But I definitely need to see the passing game amp up, because we can't be having 2-3 first rounders out there tight end and wide receiver position, and we're throwing the ball 4 times and a half, something like that. It's just crazy. We can't be doing that. And other teams like Steelers, obviously we already know the main teams that are looking for a quarterback. A-Rod's out. He's looking to make a comeback and come back better than ever, but I don't think they're going to try to rely on Zach Wilson super heavily, depending on what he does. But at the end of the year, like I say we no. A-Rod was looking to retire anyway, so what if he just decides like, damn, I'm gonna hang it up? I don't think he goes out like that, but what if he decides to hang it up? They're left with Zach Wilson, even though they'll probably try to make a signing before then. But regardless, I think there's more teams that are probably going to be looking for college quarterbacks this upcoming year, whether they're drafted first, second, or third round, than we initially thought. I don't think a lot of teams feel like they're safe at quarterback like they thought they were coming into the year. And there's a lot of college quarterbacks that are balling right now. Obviously, we see Shedeur rising up people's draft boards at probably the third, best quarterback in college football. Obviously, there's still Sam Hartman. There's a few other guys that I think have at least top 3 talent, or round up to round 3 talent, like that teams will take a flyer on them at quarterback. So overreaction or not?
Not an overreaction. Honestly, I completely agree with this. Like, if we're talking the first 3 rounds, I could see maybe, I know this sounds like a crazy number, but like up to 10. But if we're talking first round, I know this is crazy because like a lot of teams don't, not a lot of teams, but some teams don't need quarterbacks. But off the top of my head, I think I can name 5 quarterbacks that might go in the first round. Like, obviously, I watch more NFL than college. So I'm not watching. I watch the film, like the game film for NFL games, but I'm not watching game film for college. So I don't know exactly what these guys possess until they declare for the draft, to be honest. But this QB class is loaded. We didn't really think this at the beginning of the year, but once we start seeing these dudes play, it's a little different. Like, you got Caleb Williams, Drake May, they're the top 2. Nobody's going to pass them. You got Shedeur, which I don't think he's coming out because I think he needs another year of development. I know, like, if they have him third on the board at first round grade, it's going to be hard, but he could wait until next year and get a bigger bag. He's going to be fine regardless. He's going to get paid regardless. But You got him. You got Michael Penix. Washington, I really like
forgot.
him. His upside for the league is going to be really good. If he gets like some of those tools refined, he has a lot of potential. You got the kid from Duke, Riley Leonard. People like him. I haven't really watched him, but they like him.
Yeah.
I know Cam Ward because he played FCS. He goes to Washington State. I know he's going to get some draft buzz as well. And I'm missing somebody else. Quinn Ewers, too. Quinn Ewers, a lot of people were sleeping on him, and he just – not a lot of quarterbacks can go into Bama and, bombs over Baghdad like that. Like, I've never seen so many blown coverages in a Nick Saban coach defense in my lifetime. So, like, you got those 6 or 7 guys.
That's already like I said, you didn't say Sam Hartman. It's another guy. He's probably more so day 2, 3 ish. Jalen Daniels. Yeah. Like, there's some guys that.
No. I'm out on him. I never was the biggest fan.
I was about to say, I know you're out, but like, I think people like, I guess the new form of quarterback to where he's athletic, obviously can throw it a little bit, but I can see why people. Yeah, so I think that's what I think. Like I said, I think there's some teams that's going to be looking for quarterbacks they didn't think they were going to have to, but a lot of them are going to go in them first 2 rounds. I said up to 3, but I think personally the first 2.
Today, if I had to make a bet, like if I went to go look at the betting lines, if I had to make a bet on how many quarterbacks are going in the first round right now, I'd say 4.
4? Yeah.
That's kind of how many went last year. 3, 11 to the second round.
Yeah, this past year it was the first, obviously.
First 4 picks.
First 5 picks, it was 3. So, and then after that,
it was a drop off.
The beginning of the second round was Buddy in Tennessee. Yeah. So that was 4, like the first 30 something picks. So.
Yeah, man. Quarterback play is, I wouldn't say at an all-time high, but it's a lot of really good quarterback play going on. Yeah. They even got my guy Jordan Travis in the draft rankings, but I don't think he's an NFL guy, but he's a really good college quarterback.
True. It'd be sucking when people be like really good college quarterbacks and you're just like, nah, they're not going to do nothing in the league. It just, I don't know if it just sucks. It sucks obviously for them, but it's like, damn, you just look at them like, damn.
But I lied though.
Yeah.
I lied. As of now, I don't believe it, but he can prove me wrong because the quarterback that I was completely wrong on was Jalen Hurts. I gave him no shot to be an NFL quarterback because in college he was like 1 read, maybe get to my second read, then take off.
Take off,
That's not going to work. So, but yeah, man, quarterback play is in the all-time high, and I'm excited for these dudes to get their bag.
Hopefully. All right, cool. That wraps up our overreaction segment for sure. But we got another one coming at you. Is what's more likely? So obviously, like I said, Thad could probably preview this one, but we got a few things that we thought about this past week. It could be a mixture of college, it could be NFL, it could be anything really, but just what's more likely to stand out and happen. So first one, I believe you threw me off when we first talked about it, but more wins, Colorado or Denver?
Yeah, Prime and them has Colorado rolling. Them and the Broncos are kind of going in 2 different directions. Like, they don't know what they have in their quarterback. They're trending kind of downwards because quarterback's the most important position. And then you got Colorado and Shadur. They're winning, and they're winning in style. It's just I could see a scenario where Colorado has more wins than Denver. But what's more likely, Colorado or Denver to have more wins? But keep in mind that Colorado only has like a 12, 13 game schedule, and in the NFL they have 17.
17, yeah, exactly. Like you said, it definitely tough because that's what I've been thinking about the entire time because this year Denver's supposed to be better. They got Sean Payton at the helms. Russell Wilson's supposed to be better. They had a lot of injuries, throughout preseason and training camp, but overall it's supposed to be a better unit. And it was supposed to be Nathaniel Hackett's fault, and Sean Payton's supposed to come in and kind of change the dynamic, and they go out and lose to the Raiders by 1 point. Something that was not supposed to happen at all. But Colorado, like you said, they're looking good. I think they might possibly smack Colorado State this week because their coach talking. So who knows? But obviously they still have to face Oregon. They still have to face USC. They still got to face. I mean, I don't know how big of a test it'll be, but Stanford, like they gotta face some dogs in their conference that's coming up. It's coming up very soon. So I don't know. Like you said, they're going to be big tests, but I don't know. They look like they can hang with them. Like I love seeing those kids play though. Like they're hungry. Like you said, they at times they seem like it's like, damn, I think it was the first game for sure that they was looking undersized as hell on defense, but they made timely plays and they just play hard. But I don't know. I want to say it's more likely that Colorado gets more wins. I haven't fully looked at Denver's schedule, but I'm trying to think. Like, obviously, just their division alone, they play KC twice. That's probably 2 L's, maybe. They always play them tough, but they never win. They got the Chargers, and they got the Raiders that they obviously lost to. So, I mean, there's a few losses right in that mix right there. It could be up to 4, 5, possibly. But I think Colorado gets more wins, to be honest. I think it's going to take another year possibly for Sean Payton to get that Denver gear rolling over there. Yeah. So who you think got more wins?
I'm going with Colorado right now. I could see them being, like I said before the show, I could see them being like a 9-3, maybe even 10-2. Like if they go 1-1 in these next couple of games when they play Oregon and USC after this week, I could see them being a 9 or 10 win team because I think they're going to have one slip up. I can't see an undefeated season.
Yeah.
Probably that he's the GOAT, but I'm going with Colorado.
Yeah. I'll go with Colorado too. So we both agree on that one. Next one. Oh, that one is that one yours? Yeah.
No, it's mine. Yeah. I know this is kind of like an overreaction too, in a way, because the Rams won. Because if they didn't win, I wouldn't have put them on this thing. But Browns or Rams to win the division, because you got to remember you got the stacked AFC North, and then the Rams beat the team everybody had locked into the 4th spot in the NFC outside of the Lions. So, who do you have more likely to win the division, Browns or Rams?
It's tough because my question is kind of based off this a little bit too, but the Rams, obviously, what did I say? My overreaction was the Rams were going to win the division, but now, obviously, I mean, that's an overreaction. My overreaction could be different for what I think more likely would happen. I obviously think more than likely, I think the Browns possibly win, but that division, obviously, they're going to beat each other up like big time. And like I said, one of my questions actually segues off of that, but I think they more than likely, like if the way they dominated against Cincy, who probably, I don't know if I could say they were the front runner to win the division. I don't know if Baltimore was. Like I haven't looked at I don't know, betting odds aren't all end all be all, but I don't know if the Ravens or if Cincy were more favored to win that division. But if the Browns beat up Cincy the way they did, I mean, like I said, it's week 1, they obviously face them again. I mean, it could be scary for the rest of that division. That defense looks top, like a top 3 defense in the league. Obviously, we're hoping Deshaun starts to get back to his form. I mean, we still have to keep in mind, like obviously he was out of football for a while. Like he came back mid-year last year after being suspended with 8 games and didn't look good at all either. But you know, even preseason, I don't think he played that much in preseason. I want to say he played 1 or 2 games.
He didn't look that good either.
Yeah, but he didn't look that good either there. So I mean, we're just hoping and praying he eventually comes around to form. But even if he does it, they got the running game that they can lean on with Nick Chubb, and like I said, that defense that they can lean on as well. As long as he plays competent, limits turnovers, they're going to be a scary team and hard to compete with. So I personally think the Browns win the division. That's more than likely. Even though with the Rams, now that we saw what they did, they probably the number 2 team in that division versus the Browns. Like we don't know. Like it's like a 3-headed monster at the top. Maybe Cincy a little bit below because of the performance they had this past Sunday, but I'll say the Browns still. Who you got?
Browns. This one's kind of easy for me. Like I could see some people overreacting saying the Rams because they have a 4th place. I'm pretty sure that 3rd place schedule. So they won't be seeing the craziest talent, and the NFC is not that crazy, after all. And I've always been high on the Browns. Deshaun just has to play better. Like if he didn't have that year off, I feel like he'd be more back in the form. But that defense is as advertised. I'm sorry, I couldn't get that out. Speed everywhere at all 3 levels. You got Myles Garrett causing havoc. You got JOK and Anthony Walker at the linebacker position. You got
Myles Garrett is
a nice little I slept on cornerback tandem, in my opinion. Like Greg Newsome and Denzel Ward are pretty, I say really, really, real solid. So, I mean, I don't know. I got the Browns for sure, but the Rams, I wouldn't sleep on them. Like I said, they got 3 guys at the right spots. You got the head coach, you got the quarterback, and the GM. So if you have all 3 of those, I think you can try to make something shake. And they're showing they're not going like Sean McVay didn't pass up on the Amazon bag to come back and go 4-13 again. So I know they're ready to play. And Aaron Donald's getting older. He's thinking about retiring. Like he's not trying to lose.
Yeah, they hungry. They got for their own reasons, so they definitely should be ready to go for sure. All right, my 2. What's more likely? And we got comment. Forgot Kevin said if the Rams win this weekend, how y'all viewing them? Who they play?
For me personally, you can go. I'm gonna be real quick. I'm just taking it week by week. Obviously, they play the Niners, so they have a big test, but I'm not gonna overreact. Like even if they win, I'm still a little skeptical. I gotta see it week by week because you know with the Rams injuries, devastated them the last year. So if Matthew Stafford, if he's healthy, I think they always have a chance. And then Cooper Kupp when he comes back, if he can stay healthy, because that hamstring stuff is nothing to play with. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
So he could
soft
pull it
tissue.
again first day back.
Mhm.
So it all depends on health. But if they win, I think they're in good shape. Like I already said earlier, they're in contention for a wild card spot. What about you, G?
Yeah, like I said, same thing. I mean, definitely gotta take it week by week because, like you said, like they're still young. They're not, they're not full team at the moment. Obviously, without Cooper Kupp, but like you said, with Matthew Stafford healthy, he's probably obviously he's top one. He's probably either the best or second best quarterback in that not division in that conference. So he gives them a chance at all times. Like you said, Sean McVay gives them a chance. Aaron Donald gives them a chance. So, but if they beat obviously the top two teams in their conference, like they're feeling good the rest of the week going into. So like right after that, who they play? They got a hard schedule. Their first 3 games is crazy. They play the Bengals after that.
And if the
And then
Bengals are
Colts,
0-2,
Eagles. So I mean, it doesn't kind of get soft until like it goes Colts, and then they got Eagles, and then Cardinals and Steelers. So I mean, if they come out the first 3 games and they're 3-0, like I mean, we're gonna definitely have to start looking at them differently. But like I said, got to take it week by week because obviously, like young and
with a team like that too, though, injuries, anything can happen. Like they can start out
both sides, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It definitely is going to depend. But my what's more likely? It kind of goes based off of that. Your question actually, what's more than likely 3 AFC North playoff teams or 3 NFC West playoff teams making it.
This is it's easy, but it's tough at the same time. Like in my opinion, I think it's the AFC North, but the AFC is so crowded that how are all 3 going to be able to get in? Like you said earlier, they're going to beat up on each other. So I don't think there's a big chance that all 3 of the teams go like 13-4 or something. Like I really think to get in the playoffs in the AFC, you're going to have at least 11 wins. So that 10-7, 9-8 from beating up on each other all season, it might not cut it. And then on the other side, like the NFC West, I don't want to overreact to the Rams, but the NFC is just a little less crowded, so it would be more likely for them to make it on that side. But for the sake of the question, I'm going to go AFC North. I think they got some like real hitters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it all depends because the Bengals, I don't want to sleep on them after 1 week because the Browns have their number and it was a monsoon. But what if they start out slow? I know they started out 0-2 last year and they always pick it up, but I don't think this is the year you can fall behind. But for now, I'm going to say NFC North. But I wouldn't be surprised if NFC West makes it because of the schedule and the strength of the conference.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm saying NFC just because, like you said, number-wise, like NFC, it's really up for grabs after first 2 teams. So it's like, and there's 3 wild card spots. So, I mean, it's a possibility for sure. Like you said, if we're overreacting maybe with the Rams, but, got to kind of do that when you see a pretty good performance from a team that was not ranked high coming into the year. So I mean, it's definitely a possibility for them. Like I said, I think this kind of situation kind of was the same a little bit last year in the AFC North with the Steelers, Bengals, and Ravens. Like we already knew the Bengals had their spot. Ravens, I think clinched it maybe a week or 2 before. But that Pittsburgh, I still think had a chance towards the end if a few things would have went their way. Like some teams, like it was a crazy scenario. Like this team had to lose.
It was like the Steelers, Dolphins, and Pats.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's definitely possible. Like I say, it may happen this year again. It may just not be the Steelers or who knows, maybe even Cincy. It might be 3 of the other teams. It might be Baltimore. It might be Baltimore Steelers and Browns or Browns, Cincy, and the Baltimore. So, who knows? But I'm going to go with NFC West this time around just because it's a little bit weaker of a conference. But next one, we got Zach Wilson or Kenny Pickett finishes the year as team starter. Obviously, I think I'm overreacting with the Kenny Pickett thing. I mean, he didn't look great. Obviously, it's still rumbling. George Pickens, I think he's just a baby, but he rumblings. He mad that he don't begin the ball. Deontay Johnson got hurt, didn't he?
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, he's out. So, I mean, that's another weapon that you can't rely on to go to. Zach Wilson, obviously, we've seen how he's played. He's played terrible this past Sunday. He didn't start out great, but I mean, he finished okay enough for them to win the game. But obviously, we're probably gonna put a lot of that in the in both Josh Allen and the defense's hands for why that game was kind of won. But some of us expect the Jets to possibly go after a veteran. We don't know. We heard RG3 says Zach Wilson gives them the best chance to win. I don't know how much truth that is, but I mean, we don't know. We just know that Jets fans don't really like him. We've seen what he can do already, so it's a possibility he could get benched. But who do you think finishes the year as their starter?
This is kind of a tough one. Like, I think it's Kenny Pickett. I'm gonna explain both sides. All right, Zach Wilson, obviously the coach has confidence in him, and he said he's the guy. But like we've seen Zach Wilson, like there's a chance that if with this roster, and they saw like he didn't even play good, and they still won the game versus a top 10 team. Like if he goes out and stinks it up and they're 0-4, I think they kind of like have to bring in a veteran. Like I think they're going to give him at least like a 3-game leash, like 2 to 3 games where you play as bad as you want. Nobody's coming in to replace you. We're not bringing nobody in. But if they go 0-4, there's a chance. And I mean, I can see with Kenny too if he plays terrible, but like towards the end of last year, he was trending upwards. And they took him with their first round pick 2 years ago. I know they took Zach Wilson second overall too, but I just kind of feel like with a quarterback, like once you finally give him the keys, obviously you can ease him in, but once you give him the keys as like the full-time starter, if you bench him, I kind of feel like you're giving up on him. Yeah. So for the sake of that, I think it's going to be Zach Wilson. Like the Jets already showed that, you need to get better. We don't fully believe in you. We bring in A-Rod. I know it's like a 2 or 3 year rental, but if you were the guy, they wouldn't have brought him in. And then with Kenny though, like, are you going to go to Mr. Trubisky? Because everybody knows what he is at this point. Like he's okay, but he's not. He's a game manager, and he's not going to win you a game. He might with his legs, but not with his arm. So I'm going to go Kenny Pickett. I think he played a really, really good team. They had an unfortunate slow start, and they just put the foot on the gas. Like their O-line was already a problem, but their O-line was getting whipped. I know you got Bosa and Armstead and Hargrave, but he didn't really have a chance. I don't know. That Niners defense, I kind of like week 1, you don't know what you're really going to get. And you play the Niners, that's not. As a quarterback, you do not want to play them week 1.
That's not the first matchup that you want to see.
I'm going to give him a little slack, and I'm going to say Kenny finishes the year as a starter.
Yeah, that's true, too. Like I said, got to think about their backup. They kind of did it last year, or had to. When Kenny Pickett went out, they had to go to Mitch. And like you said, you kind of see what he is, and he is what he is. And it's not better, obviously, than Kenny Pickett Smith. So
they've already seen like they've seen it.
Yeah, and like you said, I think like you said with the Zach Wilson situation, they're going to give him a few games. Hopefully, it boosts his confidence. Maybe he got better in the offseason, being able to train with A-Rod a little bit. But after that, like you said, if you see it's just one of those situations. You see your defense is playing lights out and your quarterback's losing you the game. You got to move on. You got to get somebody that's going to put you in position to make the playoffs. And they're already in a tough division, let alone conference. So, can't let 1 year slip away because you got a sorry ass quarterback. So, but next, that was our segments for this. Like I said, for today. Obviously, appreciate that, the one that threw them segments out. So we definitely will bring those each and every week. What's more likely in overreaction, but this week we got our OTBN Power Rankings that we had to put up. I'll move this so we can see all the teams. But quick glance, I already kind of said my thoughts about it in the chat, but real quick, I think the line's a little too high. I don't see how the Commanders moved up 4 spots after almost losing to the worst team in the league. And outside of that, the Rams, made a big jump. Like I said, we've been talking about them all day, though, but I didn't think they make that big of a jump. But who you think is placed right? Who you think is too high, too low?
I'm not going to pick through all 32 because we'd be here for 2 hours. But I like off first glance, I think that the Pats should be higher. It's hard because, like, when you look at I guess it's a lot of decent teams. Like the Pats, nobody's going into a game with the Pats thinking it's an automatic dub. Like, nobody's doing that. Same with the Titans. But I think the Lions are a little too high. I'm not one to usually, like, say it's an asterisk, but they did beat the Chiefs without 2 of their 3 most important players. And 2 of those 3 guys happen to be, like, multiple-time All-Pro players. So that the Ravens, I think, should be down more. They had a sloppy win. Like, they didn't play that well. Offensively, they did it. And I would say the Rams are a little too high, overreacting off of week 1. Nah, because then again, I don't know how good the Falcons are. Let me look at the last 12. The Bears are not that bad. They're not as bad as 30. I think the Panthers should be lower. The Panthers are not a good football team. I think they're going to give the Bears 2 top 10 picks. Personally, Last one, Giants. I think the Giants. I know they got thrashed by the Cowboys. Cowboys have their number, and they had a terrible showing, but I don't think they're that terrible football team. I think they'll be able to get it together by week one. By week 4. Like it's just tough. Like when you have such a promising drive, your first drive of the season, only for the kick to get blocked and then run it back, and then from there it just
went downhill.
Like that first drive was promising. They look good, and then you block the kick for 6, and it's like, we got to go 80 yards again, and
just defeat.
Like to talk about that game real quick before you say your part. You were saying like in college you see blowouts like this, but not in the NFL. Like 40-0, like you couldn't get 3, you couldn't get 1 touchdown.
They're the only team that didn't score points that week, the first week.
Yeah, that was a threat. And so I see why they got moved down a lot, but I think the Giants are better than 22. But what's your opinion?
Yeah, I overreacted when I did my rankings. I had put them at 30 because this is obviously a combination of everybody's rankings at OTBN. I think about 5 people, but I put them at 30. It's kind of it was a mixture of I actually had forgotten about them because I was like they got blown out so bad. I forgot to put them on there when I was typing it out, and then at the same time I was like, yeah, if you get blown out 40-0 and you don't score, you're the only team to not score. Like the Cardinals scored 16 points. I know they played the Commanders, but like you ain't score a point. I had to put you 30. So I put them 30, but I did overact a little bit. I just had to do that. But obviously I have a little bit of vengeance with them anyway because I just don't like the Giants.
Me neither. I don't like them only because Preds likes them.
Yeah. I don't like the Giants. So I was like, I just put them at 30. But everything else, like I said, the bottom feeder teams we kind of picked through, but it's like what's the point? They're bottom feeder teams. But I think like I said, the only ones I really had was like you said, the Lions. I feel like they're just a little too high. Like they're not a and the way I do mine as well, when I be sending them in, I do them based off of obviously how they perform that game, but what I expect them to do in the next few weeks too. I don't know. Obviously people do power rankings a little bit differently. It's supposed to be kind of like a week by week thing, but I do it based off that game. And then I look forward to next week. Like, okay, how do I think they about to perform against this team next week and who they're matched up with? Like you said, they're not a top 10 team based off that win. Like, obviously, it's a good win because you got it off of the Super Bowl champions. But like you said, missing 2 of their most important pieces, like Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. It's not like they was like, missing Marquez Valdez Scantling, or one of their 3 backs that they barely use. It's like, they're missing key guys, and they barely escaped with a 1-point win. And really, if Buddy Kadarius Toney wasn't dropping everything and then Sky Moore wasn't dropping everything, they could have probably won the game by 2 touchdowns or more. So it wasn't a great win. Obviously, it's a great win for them in their locker room. For power ranking purposes, it wasn't a great win for me, which is why I think I had them maybe like 12th or 13th or something like that, but not top 10. That was the only grip I really had. That, and like I said, Washington moving up when they should have lost the game. To be honest, like they should have lost the game.
Arizona didn't play as bad. I don't know if Arizona sucks for real or not. They probably suck, but yeah, they could have won that game for sure.
Should have won that game. So those are the only 2 I really had. Other than that, everyone's kind of placed well. I think I put the Falcons like 14, but that's just me having the hometown love. But I had the Saints like right after them. So a lot of the middle teams I kind of had there besides the Rams. I think I had them like maybe 18 or 19, something like that. But not that bad. But we got to do better a little bit, guys. Like, I forgot somebody said they fell asleep doing them. I think Mo he wasn't paying attention. I think they put his out and he had somebody 5th. I was like, what are you doing? So I got to go back and look at it, but I forgot what the team was. But it wasn't the Dolphins. I don't know who he had there. But next few things before we out here today. Obviously, want to hit on the game that's about to happen in like 10 minutes. So just quick preview about the NFL Week 2 kicks off tonight. Vikings to Eagles. I guess we can make our picks real quick and then just say why.
Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles. Vikings they should have won the game last week, so I think that's weighing on them, and it's going to carry into this week. If I'd say like 80% sure. I don't know if it's the guard and center, but one of their 2 interior linemen, if not both, are out, and it's looking like Jalen Carter is everything that everybody thought he was going to be. The man had the most pressures in the league week 1, playing D-tackle where you're getting double teamed constantly. So he's looking like the problem everybody thought he was going to be when they said he could even be the number 1 pick. But I just think the Eagles defensive line, the Vikings don't have a run game right now. They're missing Dalvin Cook a little bit. He looks slower. They didn't even give Madison a lot of carries. So a recipe for disaster versus the Eagles is dropping back 50 times the pass with no threat of the run game where the D lineman can just pin their ears back. And we know one thing about the Eagles, they have depth. Like they have edges. They got Josh Sweat. They got Brandon Graham. Nolan Smith, and then on the inside you got Cox, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. They can rotate them, so they're gonna be fresh and ready to get after Kirk Cousins' ass. And if Kirk Cousins doesn't have a clean pocket, he starts to get to flinching and stuff. So I just think them not being able to establish the run game and having to lean on the pass. He's gonna throw for 300 some yards. Like if you're on prospects, take the over for Kirk, but they're not gonna win the game because of their lack of run game. And their defense was already kind of suspect. And I feel like Philly's gonna, be a little hungry to have a better performance than they did last week. You shouldn't be disappointed having a rough game against Bill Belichick because he does it to everybody. But I think they'll just be looking to be a little bit more sharp, and I think they'll result in a win. But I think it'll be a fun game. Like, if I had to pick, I'll go 34-24 Philly.
Yeah. Hopefully it's exciting. I'm expecting a little bit more offensive performance, hopefully, from both sides. Like you said, they definitely got to pick it up in the run game, Vikings-wise. But I'm expecting a good game. I'm going Eagles, too, as well. Like we said, I think the Vikings they're missing some guys. They have some holes that they got to fill. Like you said, we all felt like they were going to take a step back this year, and it showed in their game against the Bucs. And now they're playing, a team coming off a Super Bowl appearance. Got a win last week against a tough Belichick team. And I think they got probably something to prove as well because they started out that game hot and they fizzled out pretty quickly as well. And then, like I said, Patriots climbed back and they only won by 5. So I think the Eagles are looking to put it fully together tonight. And that could be scary hours for the Vikings, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles. And like I said, hopefully it's a fun game at least to watch, but I would say about a 13-point win too. I'm gonna go like 31-17. Yeah, that sounds about right. So definitely, like I said, Eagles, both of us are for the first week of the pick'ems. And real quick, we're gonna go through the last few because we got to hit on them for the week. Forgot to put up the graphic this week, but I'm gonna have it up next week. From what I can think of off the top of my head, that may got me by a game or two, but we're gonna have it officially posted on Twitter tomorrow, and then like I said, next week when we get our show going, we're gonna have a graphic for it as well. But this week, I already did the Minnesota Philly, Green Bay Atlanta for the first game. Who you got?
I gotta go Atlanta. I don't like taking the Falcons. I know you're gonna take them too, but Green Bay looks pretty good so far, so I'm riding the bandwagon as of now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go obviously with my boys and go against them until they give me a reason to. So I just want to see better offensive game this next week. A lot of coaches, GMs, everybody saying that the defense is kind of crazy, and I still think they didn't play that great last week either. I was expecting a little bit more pressure, but this week is a pretty good test against a pretty good team. But I'm still taking them. Vegas, Buffalo. Who you got?
Buffalo. They're not. West Coast going to East Coast. They didn't play well. Josh Allen's going to throw for about 4. I'd say about 4 bills.
Yeah, I think he was mad. He was upset definitely by his performance. I think he comes back stronger. And Vegas may possibly be down. I don't know if he's out of concussion protocol or not, but they may be out. They may be down Jacoby. So, and that was Jimmy Garoppolo's favorite target last week. So I think they come back stronger. And he gets it right, and he proves he puts some of the conversations to bed. Everybody's talking about we should have this conversation about Josh Allen. We get it. He's a turnover machine, but sometimes that's what you get out of a guy that can make plays as well. But he does need to tone it down. But I'm gonna go Buffalo as well. At home, so they probably gonna thrax them. Baltimore, Cincy, good divisional rival game. Yeah, so yeah. Who you got?
I'm gonna go upset here, man. They're gonna start overreacting in Cincy. I got Baltimore going on the road. Zay Flowers looks very shifty. He looks untackable. Like if I'm in open space with him, I might just go for the first move so I don't look sad. I'm not reaching, man. I'm where I think you're going. I'm gonna go for it. And if I miss, I miss. That man is shifty. Obviously, he needs to go down sometimes because he's small. He's gonna get hurt. Like when the linebackers get on him or D linemen, but he looks good. I think he's gonna be really good. And I think Baltimore's defense is very stingy, so I think they go in there and get a tough road win.
Yeah, we'll switch it up in a second. What's this 5 games in? But I was gonna go, or it's 4 games in. But I was gonna go Baltimore as well. Like I said, for the things I said earlier about Burrow, I don't know. It didn't look good. I don't know if he's fully healthy and he's feeling right. They said he's been good. He's been cleared. He's been back, but I don't know. I don't know if it's something with him there. Obviously, I think lost a few guys on both sides of the ball. Actually, they just released their left tackle, their starting left tackle. So shit, I don't know. I just think, like you said, they're going to be a little bit of turmoil in Cincy, and they're going to start panicking a little bit, even though it's just an 0-2 start. But I'm gonna go Baltimore as well. Seattle, Detroit. Who you got?
I got Detroit. I'm gonna ride the bandwagon for a little bit longer. I got to see what they got.
Home too.
You're not giving them an asterisk. They went in and handled business. Like I think I said in the last show, in previous years, Detroit would have lost that type of game, but they won it. So it shows they're kind of learning how to win. And
Last year they would have lost it.
Oh yeah,
they lost it to I think the Vikings. Something.
I remember that. It was week 2. They kicked a 59-yard field goal or something when they didn't have to, and they could have punted it and made them go 100 yards. I forgot, but I remember most of it. But yeah, that Detroit crowd is crazy right now. Like they're buying into the hype.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how often they sell out, but it's going to be a sellout, and I think they're going to feed off the crowd and give Seattle their 1-2 start.
Oh, it's against my better judgment, but I feel like Detroit may win as well, but I'm gonna go Seattle to be a little different. And I think I feel like they have a little bit to prove as well. It's gonna be a tough road game for sure, like you said, because they're coming off a team that's feeling really, really good about themselves. But I think they need this pick me up. Like I think they have to win this game in order to feel like they are where they thought they were gonna be or should have been last week. So I'm gonna take Seattle, hopefully to maybe get the dub. Chargers, Tennessee. I'm gonna go Chargers. They're coming off of a really good game, but a game I'm pretty sure they probably felt like they should have won. They looked good in, but no cigar. They came up short. I think they need to make a statement as well against the Tennessee team. So I think that the Chargers should take this one. Who you got?
Yeah, I got the Chargers too. We're gonna switch it up. We're gonna have some different ones coming up, but I hate Tennessee. Hate everything about them. The Chargers lost a really, really good game last week, and I just don't think Tennessee's gonna be able to keep up. I know their defense is really good, but when you play quarterbacks like Herbert, there's no such thing as perfect defense. He's going to beat you. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I got LA and Tennessee having an 0-2 start, so they better catch up, or we're going to leave their ass behind.
I mean, yeah, I think many thought that was going to happen anyway. But Chicago, Tampa, who you got?
This is a sneaky good game, too, but I'm going Chicago. I think Justin Fields has a big bounce-back day. If he goes 0-2, people are going to start questioning him, and they're going to be like, oh, where's he playing next year or whatever, but I like Fields, right? I think he's going to bounce back. He had a shaky week 1 game, and he didn't really get DJ Moore involved like I thought he would.
Yeah.
And I think he will this week. I know that had a lot to do with Jair Alexander because he's like a top 5 corner, but Tampa has good corners too. Carlson Davis not that bad, but I think Chicago gets back on track.
Yeah. And I mean, he has familiarity, I guess, with those corners in Tampa as well. So maybe they game plan and they have something going to get him the ball a little bit more. Next week, hopefully, because I need it for my fantasy team. I was pissed. He only had 4 targets, only 2 catches. But I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go Tampa in this one. Shouldn't be going with a division foe, but I just feel like they're at home, coming off a decent win. I think maybe they're not as bad as we thought. Maybe Baker Mayfield can be just enough of a game manager. That defense still isn't terrible. Like they said, they still have, like I said, Carlton Davis. They still have. I forgot his name. I just forgot his name, but number 31. They got
Winfield.
Yeah. They got him, and they got obviously their linebacker core. So they're not too bad or in too bad of shape either. And I think they're coming home. Maybe they're hype off that win and they get another one. I'm gonna go Tampa in this one. Who's next? Kansas City, Jacksonville. Obviously, probably one of the games of the week. Who you got?
Oh, yeah, you know where I'm going. I'm buying the hype of the team. I know, all right, let me say this. I'm picking the Jags, but if we get beat by 14, I won't be surprised. Kelsey didn't play last week. Chris Jones didn't play last week. They're 0-1. They're upset. They dropped so many passes. In my history of being a Jaguars fan, it's like every team plays their best game versus, Tony's going to – I won't be surprised if Tony has, a 7-catch, 120-yard game, a bounce-back game. So all these passes they dropped last week, they're going to catch versus us. But I think our offense is we finally have the offense to go tit for tat with them. And our defense isn't that bad either. And they don't have the receivers that really scare. It's just Kelsey and some guys. So I think that Caldwell will be able to heat them up. And I think we'll caused Mahomes to have a couple costly turnovers. And I think, we're going to feed off the crowd. I know the game's probably going to be sold out. We're going to be pumped. Like, this is the last home game since the Chargers game, and we know how that went. So everybody's hyped, amped up, ready to go, and I think we're going to feed off that. And that 100-degree heat. I know it's hot in Kansas City, but that heat down south is different. It's humid out here, man. Folks get out of warm-up and feel like they already played 2 quarters of the game. So hopefully we can feed off all the advantages we have of being at home and the elements and everything, crowd, all that. And I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a really good game. I think Calvin Ridley, I know they have some decent young corners, but I think Calvin Ridley is going to have a day. And Christian Kirk, if you guys have him in prize picks, he only had 1 catch last week. I have a good feeling that he's going to have a lot more this week. So I'm taking Jags in the shootout. I'm going to go 31-27.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that as well. Like you said, I mean, I don't think Kelsey will be back. I don't think. I mean, Iverson, what you think? Did they say he's going to be back? Or I'm thinking this.
I think he's going to play, man. It's the Jags, bro. Everybody gets healthy for us. Everybody wants Chris Jones wants to come back. Like,
I was like, Chris Jones definitely playing. He was in the stands chilling last week. Got his little deal. He's definitely on the field. I don't know.
I think he's a competitor. I don't think that he's going to let the trainers tell him no 2 weeks in a row. Like, I'm pretty sure he was trying to fight him last week when they told him no. So.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I'm gonna go KC just because everything's bad. Like everything's kind of going against y'all, like you said, because of the simple fact. And I feel that too. Like the same thing, you'd be feeling like teams be having their best performance. For me, I'd be feeling like teams be having their best fourth quarter. Like they be having their best possible fourth quarter against us. But I'm gonna go KC. Obviously, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be the best, probably one of the better games, if not the best game of the week. So can't wait to see it for sure. Indy, Houston. Who you got?
Both teams kind of impressed me in a weird way. Like Houston, all right, Stroud is not as bad as I was gonna think. It will end. That Texas defense is coming. Like they got some young gunners over there that can play. Yeah. Will Anderson look good. Stingley look good. They got Petrie, Jonathan Greenyard. I know you know him from Florida. He's pretty solid too. So I don't know. Like the Colts, their defense was stingy. Like we really into them. Obviously, we shot ourselves in the foot, but they played way better. Their offense needs some work because they don't have anybody outside of A-Rich really right now, no running back. But that defense is pretty stingy. Yeah. I think this is going to be one of those low-scoring games, like 16-13. And I'm going to take the Colts. I think A-Rich makes a play to seal the game. I got the Colts.
I was going to take the Colts as well because, like I said, both teams actually look decent against pretty good competition. Like you said, both defenses played really well. Both defenses have young guns. Like I said, offensively, both probably need a lot of work. It's not going to be a great offensive game. It's going to probably be a very, very mistake-full game, but I think I'm going to go with Colts as well. Like somehow they squeeze it out. I would say like a 3-point last-second win as well. Giants, Arizona. Oh, missed one. San Francisco, LA. Who you got?
Sorry, Rams. Last week was cute, but San Fran, until they show me otherwise, they're beating the brakes off folks. So I'm taking the Rams. And the Niners. And obviously, Shanahan has McVay's number, so that's part of it too.
Yeah. Ever since you said that last year, I've been paying attention. I'm gonna go San Fran as well, but I'm rooting for the Rams to win. I'm going San Fran for the picks, but I don't know. I'm hoping this is another good game. This probably could possibly be the second best game. Jets, or my fault. Giants, Arizona.
Giants, this is an easy one. They got beat 40-0, so they come out and lose again. They have no fight in them, and that lets me know how their season is going to go. So I think it's going to be a sneaky close game, but I got Giants.
Yeah, they should handle them. There's no reason that they shouldn't give them a 40 ball. There's no reason, but who knows? Giants are the Giants. I'm going with them as two, though. Jets, Dallas.
We can move on from this one. Zach Wilson got to show me. The Cowboys' defense look relentless, and the reason A-Rod got hurt is because they don't have a good offensive line, and the Cowboys have a very good defensive line. So another New York Jets quarterback is going to be seeing ghosts on Sunday. I'm pulling for Zach Wilson. No, he's got a lot of slander, but this is not a good game to have your first true start in. Like the Cowboys' defense is going to be relentless, and they brought everybody back. So
and they're at home
by 14 plus.
Yep. It might be scary. It might be looking scary, like you said. But I'm going with Dallas as well. And there's no more to say. Washington, Denver. I'm gonna go with Denver. Like, I don't think this is gonna be a good game either, but I'm gonna go with Denver. I expect at some point. I think I have enough respect for Sean Payne to know that he's going to get the most out of this team, and hopefully Russell. They didn't look good last week, but I think they can get it on track against Washington, who also looked very bad. Who you got?
I want to take Washington, but if Denver starts 0-2, man, they're like, it's just obviously it's overreactions everywhere, but Russ is cooked. They're gonna move on.
That's already
I think the offense, everything was quick last week. They run really too much firepower, but I know they were missing a lot of their weapons. They get Jerry Jeudy back this week, so I think he'll be a boost to their offense. But Russ has to get it together, man. I'm pulling for him, but I got Denver. Denver. It's gonna be a close one too, though.
Miami, New England.
I'm going my gut. Tua is one of the only quarterbacks in the division. Obviously, Josh Allen, but like early on, they usually struggle. Tua doesn't really. He struggles, but he still beats them. So I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. That offense looks crazy, and I know Bill Belichick's a mastermind. He's gonna take away Tyreek Hill, but they still have Jalen Waddle. So I think Mike McDaniels is a very, very smart coordinator. So he already has a plan B set up. He knows Bill. Everybody knows Bill. He's gonna take away your main guy. So
exactly.
Option 2 and 3, be ready to have your day. So I'm going Dolphins. I like the Dolphins right now.
Same. I'm going with them too. Like you said, I think New England makes it a tough game, just like they're probably going to make a tough game with a lot of people this year. But I think the Dolphins, like I said, they look good last week. They should look good this week. Hopefully on the road. So I'm gonna go with them as well. New Orleans, Carolina. I don't even know why I don't know why they're doing a doubleheader, but I really don't know why that's the first game of Monday night. But anyway, I'm gonna go New Orleans. Who you got?
I'm gonna be different for this one. I really think it's gonna be the Saints, but Carolina, their home opener, they didn't look too well on offense last week, and I think they bounced back. I know. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I gotta win every pick 'em. The Saints are gonna win. They have the defense. Bryce Young doesn't have a lot of help around him. Adam Thielen has aged a lot. He can't get open anymore. Marcus Lattimore is the number 1 corner, so whoever their best option is, he's taking that guy away. And the Saints defense is the Saints defense. They're always like, it's weird. I know they're in your division, so but like, as bad as the Saints will be a certain year, like that defense has always been solid for the last. Ever since they started going to the playoffs every year with Drew Brees, I don't know, what is that, like 2016? I don't know, that last little 5-year run they had with Brees, and then when they got Kamara and they used to have Ingram. But that defense, ever since they drafted Marcus Lattimore too, and what's his name? He plays for the Ravens now, Marcus Williams. Like they've had a solid defense since that rookie class came in. Carolina does not have a lot to offer on offense, so I'm going with the Saints.
Very true. I'm going Saints as well. I think I already said it, but yeah. Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Cleveland.
Damn.
Short.
We'll be different down the line. Pittsburgh didn't give me, a lot to be looking forward to, and I'm obviously a Deshaun Watson fan, and hopefully gets it back on track. And that defense, it doesn't get any easier for Kenny Pickett. This Browns front is no joke either, and they're fast at all 3 levels. So it's tough to win in the Steel City, so I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh won, but I'm riding the Browns hype train for now, so I got Cleveland.
Yeah, I think we were different enough last week, enough for this week, so it really don't even matter because like last week we
got 15 weeks though. We got 15 weeks.
Exactly.
15 more weeks to do this.
It was very different last week, and like I said, I still got to see the put the numbers up. But that does it for our pick 'em this week as well. That does it for the show as well too. I think the game just kicked off. So yeah, I think we had a pretty heavy show. We won't do what grinds my gear this week, but we'll probably hit it up again next week. But yeah, anything that we missed anything that we ain't hit on?
Oh no, we didn't really. This was an NFL based week, but next week we'll sprinkle in a little bit more college. I'm just looking forward to Colorado adding more haters because everybody doesn't like Deion and make him uncomfortable. So I hope they keep winning. Shador keeps balling and he keeps flashing his Richard Mille or whatever he had on his wrist. That didn't crack me up, but college football. I will say it's really exciting this year. I've always loved. Obviously, I love football, but I feel like this year I can sit down and watch football all day on Saturday. On Sunday, I do that for NFL, but Saturdays I kind of
I can watch some college games I would never even think about tuning into. Yeah, and it'd be actually pretty good ones, like you said. Like these last 2 weeks though, watching Colorado, it's probably gonna be like next. It's gonna be like that the rest of the season. They got their main games coming up too. But yeah, that one was crazy. I honestly thought that was gonna hook. I didn't know what was going on because I seen one video before I see the other one. And the main video I saw, they all was on or close to the Buffalo in the field. and then I seen him. So like when he did that, I thought they was gonna hook. I was like, oh,
Nah, he did. He was by himself too, but hey,
yeah.
man.
But they probably knew like, nah, I ain't with them problems. Like they hook. Like it's obviously gonna be all over media. He gonna suspend it. Bunch of stuff probably gonna come down. But yeah, like you said, definitely we'll speak a little bit more college football next week, or this upcoming week, whichever one we do a show, whenever we do a show again. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching, and following us. I know we're back. Some guys, I think I don't work this week, so some guys are back on Saturday for Off the Ball Networks to do a little See You Sunday. We'll talk about obviously the big games for the upcoming week, and then some other pointers as well. And then pretty sure Walker and Ken will do some bets on bets, take some advice from them. I think they did pretty good last week. Had a few misses, but mostly hits. And then yeah, like I said, we'll come into you. I don't know when we'll do our like little off the ball rankings, so everybody can say who they really ranked and where they ranked them at. But I'm sure that will be coming soon as well. But other than that, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Like I said, another game's coming on, so definitely enjoy. Yeah. Other than that, any last words?
Nah, man, just looking forward to another football weekend.
Yeah. Hopefully we come out 2-0.
Sunday, Monday, and yeah, I won't be as mad because we're playing the best team in the league if we lose, but now I kind of expect to win. But if we win, I'm picking us for the rest of the season. So I'm gonna be unbearable. Y'all tune in. I would say I'm humble about my team, but if we really start winning, it's gonna
get bad.
Get a little cocky. So, but hey, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm glad the NFL is back, and I'm glad to be doing this show every week. So we'll be back to you guys next week.
For sure, same here. Like I said, we'll see y'all next week. Make sure y'all follow us. Everything's down there below. Other than that, we'll catch y'all soon. Have a good one.